Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of TV is Our Real Mom. I'm Dave.
I'm Catie.
And today we are going to discuss Season 6, Episode 2 of The Walking Dead, entitled JSS. What does JSS stand for, Catie?
JSS stands for Just Survive Somehow, and it comes from Enid.
Enid. She's
Carl's little girlfriend, lady, girl, whatever she
Yep.
is. She's a girl.
Yep. And she's obsessed with the writing those letters. She writes it like she scratches it onto her hand. Where else does she write it?
She writes it in the dirt. I believe, however, that this whole beginning of this episode was Enid before she got to Alexandria. She saw her parents get eaten by walkers, and she was just living by this mantra, just survive somehow, and including killing a poor, helpless little turtle or tortoise, whatever you want to call it, and eating it disgustingly.
Yep.
And I think this mantra has deeper implications that we should probably discuss. Is now a good time to do that?
Yeah, let's get right into it. Sometimes you just gotta survive, and sometimes you gotta eat a tortoise.
Well, that's part of just surviving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, they showed, she went through a lot to eventually end up at the gates of Alexandria. And before she got there, right as she's standing outside the gates, you see hesitation on her part. She almost turned and walked away. And you think for a second, maybe she just isn't ready to be around people. She hears laughter and she's not ready for that to be a part of her life. By the end of the episode, I was feeling that she was going there with a purpose. Her mantra this whole time had been to just survive somehow. And perhaps one of those ways was encountering the wolves and doing some work for them. And by her going to Alexandria, she was going there undercover. Just to survive somehow.
Yeah, I had heard that theory as well. I did not come up with it myself, though. Did you come up with that on your own?
Yeah, I thought it was obvious at the beginning. It's like, I thought before they showed what happened, I thought, oh, Enid must be the one who honked the horn before they, show us how that came to be. So, the main thing was right before, as she was standing outside the gates, she heard the laughter and she was going to leave. She wasn't going to be able to pull it off. And right when the wolves came, and we'll talk about that, but she was going to leave. And she's always out in the woods by herself doing weird stuff. She didn't talk for like the first few months she came to Alexandria. It's all the signs are there. Her whole mantra is just to survive, and perhaps she had to do some bad things to survive.
I think it's a really good theory. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. It's a little too much of a coincidence that she leaves at the end of this episode, after the attack happens. It kind of makes sense that she left because she is a wolf.
So, did she leave for good? Did she leave Alexandria? Will we see her again?
That's what it seems like. But I think she'll be back. Yeah, I don't think she's gone from the show entirely, but she left Alexandria for now, I guess. Mm-hmm. My question to you is, were her parents wolves, or did she get discovered by the wolves and she became a wolf?
No, I think she became a wolf in order to survive. After her parents weren't there to look after her anymore,
right? Okay.
She kept going, and she kept living by that mantra, just survive somehow. She probably came upon the wolves, and just to survive, she did whatever they wanted. And that probably included some horrible things, but she just wants to survive, so.
Right. One thing about last week's podcast, at the end, we were supposed to kind of talk about the horn a little bit, but we forgot to discuss what we thought the horn was. And your theory, you said to me, was that it was Ron that did it.
Yeah, he's angsty and emo. Yeah. And I thought he would do something stupid like that, but I was wrong.
Yeah. Well, I thought the wolves, at the time I didn't realize this, but as soon as I heard other theories, that the wolves made perfect sense. It did turn out to be the wolves, but it wasn't the way we kind of thought the wolves, like someone pulled a horn or pulled an alarm or something, but it was actually just that semi that crashed into
the
wall or whatever.
This is what I loved about the beginning of the episode. Like the preview, like the first episode ended with that horn honking, and you're like, oh shit, everyone's in trouble.
Yeah.
And they showed the preview for the next week, and I thought, you know, they showed everyone in Alexandria freaking out and trying to protect the town. And everybody that saw it probably thought, okay, the zombies are coming. That's what they're trying to protect themselves from.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
That's not what happened. Like the lady, I don't know what her name was, the lady that Carol chastised earlier in the episode, just standing there smoking on the corner, and then that wolf comes around and just chops her up. That was one of the most terrifying things I've seen on the show in a long time. Like, this was a terrifying episode.
Yeah, no, it was pretty intense as far as the violence and just, terrifying murders, killing. Yeah.
Yeah, and do you have a theory about, you know, I mean, I don't know why the wolves attacked. That's, you know, maybe comic book readers know that more than I do. I'm sure it will be revealed to us. But why do they kill these people so viciously? Like, they don't just murder them. After they're dead, they sit there and they like hack at them. Like, is there a reason they're so vicious about it?
Well, when I was watching, I was noticing that they chop off their arms and legs, and I think their heads too, maybe. They're basically chopping all the appendages off. And I don't know.
Really?
It looked that way to me. I mean, I could be wrong. Like, I'm probably wrong. I'm usually always wrong. But
No,
it looked like they were. It looked like they were like, taking off the legs and arms and stuff. Like they hang up the torsos. I seem to remember they like hang up the torsos or something like that.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh, that's even worse than I was imagining.
Yeah,
I was just
the wolves
like,
are
is it just
aptly named.
Is there a purpose behind it, or is it just they're just completely psychotic? This is what humans will devolve into eventually in the world of the zombie apocalypse. Is that all that they're showing?
The way I look at it is they're like complete psychos. Like this is the type of person that this is the type of group that you would expect to survive in the zombie apocalypse. This is what you would expect to be left over in the zombie apocalypse. Just a bunch of psycho, crazy animal people, you know?
Right. Well, we already had cannibals, so scratch that off the list. We got to have something new.
Yeah, but the cannibals were like, they were still kind of calculated and thinking people, whereas the wolves are straight up animalistic, crazy psychopaths.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think I did actually watch Talking Dead this time after Walking Dead, which I don't always do, but someone said that what they meant, but when they said you don't belong here in the town, or you're not supposed to be here, that's what they say. The wolves say that to Morgan or somebody. I can't remember who exactly they say it to. Like, you're not supposed to be here. What they mean is your type of person, like the feeling, thinking human, isn't supposed to be alive anymore in this world. It's that makes sense. It's the world for the crazy psycho animal wolf people.
So there's no place in this world for civilized society, which is what
exactly
Alexandria is. And at the same time, Rick and his people are kind of trying to tell them that too. They're trying to tell Alexandria, look, you can't live like this. You're not going to survive this way, but you can, you know, be here, but also be prepared. So maybe you've got the wolves on one end and you've got Alexandria, naive people on this end, and Rick and his people are somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I'd say that's a really good way to look at it as far as where things are at right now in the show. Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense.
You still have those people that are hesitant to, like Deanna and her son were unwilling to go on the other side of the wall. They were just staying outside in the truck, you know, hoping that everything turns out okay, which is what I think is they're just not ready to commit to. They're not ready to let go of the civilized kind of, you know, quaint little life they had in Alexandria, even though it's being completely trashed and burned by not only a zombie horde, but these psychotic people. So they have to let it go. They're not going to have a choice. Half the town is dead now, right? Like, did they kill half the town?
I'd say, like they killed a lot of people. They managed to fight off most of the wolves, I think. So, you know, you still got you still got the town. I think the town survived in a sense, but I mean, will they ever be the same? I don't think so. I mean, they can't function the same way they were functioning before, you know. I don't think you can go back from something like that, you know.
Here's a question I have. Since you know, eventually they stopped the horn from honking, so are the zombies going to continue coming to Alexandria, or will they be able to get them back in line and lead them away?
Well, the previews for the next episode, they showed a lot of everyone sort of like running away, you know, and so it seems like everyone's running back to the town, and it's not really clear if they're trying to run back so they can help fend off the zombie horde, or if they're just like trying to get away from the zombie horde. You know, I don't know.
I suppose that's a question for next week, I guess. Yeah, I just was curious.
It's really tough to say, but it looks like they're running back for some reason.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. So what stands out in your head about this episode the most? Yeah, what stands out to you?
Carol?
Yeah, that's kind
Carol.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, I think a lot of people, you know, really liked Carol in this episode.
Like we said last week that we missed Badass Carol, and I knew she'd be back. I didn't expect her to be back this soon, and did not expect her to be even more badass than she was before. Because she turns on a dime. She was, you know, the homemaker wife, you know, chastising the lady for smoking, gossiping with the ladies about new casseroles they could try. She puts her casserole in the oven, checks the baby monitor, and then sees her, you know, neighbor get cut down, and she just goes to work. She just completely transforms into badass Carol. And, you know, it doesn't even, there's no emotion. I mean there is, I'm sure, somewhere inside, but she's just so good at surviving now that she just thinks so logically. She knows what she had to do is dress up like a wolf and put the W on her head and just go to work. And it was awesome. It was so cool to see.
Yeah, it's funny. I did like a Google search of this episode just like an hour ago or so, and there's like a million articles about this episode written all over the internet, you know, and all of them have some play on words of like a wolf in sheep's clothing or something like. Oh yeah, that's some form or another. Every writer is using that as their.
Wouldn't she be a sheep in wolf's clothing? Or...
That's
no, you're right. She's a wolf in sheep's clothing when she's playing the homemaker, but she's a wolf in wolf clothing when she's disguising herself as a wolf.
Yeah, exactly. It works both ways depending on which Carol you're talking about at which point in time. So,
but that's the beauty of it, is she sees that the town needs her to be something else, you know, when there's no danger at all, but she underneath knows that when, you know, danger comes around, she has to be survivor Carol. And she's, you know, probably the most clear-headed thinker when it comes to times of danger than anyone. Better than Rick, better than Daryl, better than Michonne. She should be the leader of this group from what I saw in that episode last night.
Yeah, she just survive somehow is kind of her motto.
Yeah, I mean, I guess she's been living that since her, I mean, think back to Carol in season 1. I mean, she was this weak little abused wife, and she just slowly evolved into this person, and now she's just full-fledged freaking superhero. But at the same time, she doesn't hesitate to kill. She knows that you have to kill in order to survive, because these people will come after you, especially psychos like the wolves. But that conflicts with the way Morgan thinks. So maybe we can talk about Morgan now.
For sure. Yeah. To me, I mean, the most important survival skill there is adaptation. And that's what Carol is good at, it seems like. She's going to adapt to the circumstances, whatever she needs to do in the moment. She's going to adapt to that, and that's how she survives, which is awesome. And speaking of that, I mean, we're going to talk a little bit now about Morgan and Carol and how they're kind of conflicting in their ideology right now. But that's something Carol needs to keep in mind, is she can't be rigid in her thinking of, you know, the rule is kill, 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 kill. shoot first, ask questions later. I mean, maybe Morgan's on to part of survival too here. I mean, yeah, it's easy to say that the easy way is just to kill, but I mean, Morgan takes things to a different level, I think. He's the moral one. As we can see with the wolves, he's fighting them off and not killing them. But the problem is, I mean, Carol's right in this sense. They are coming back. They're coming back to bite him later on. So,
here's my question about Morgan. Does he have a connection to the wolves? Has that been discussed, or has that only been hinted at? Did he spend time with the wolves?
I personally don't think that he spent any time with the wolves, like on their side by any means. To me, what was going on in this episode is they're saying the wolves have run into Morgan in the outside world. They've run into him before.
Okay.
And every time he beats the shit out of him and sends him packing, but he never kills him, you know? So they're like, you again.
Which is stupid.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah.
But at the same time, like I'm a human being, like, and I believe in morality on some level. And so like there's part of me for the show that wants there to be a moral character that ends up prevailing somehow, or at least lasts longer than, you know, a Dale or whoever's next in the morality chain.
Herschel.
Yeah, Herschel. Did I say, is Dale, that's a character, right? I didn't make that up.
Yeah. Dale's, you know, season 2, he
Hawaiian
end in season 2, but Paul, good guy, the voice of reason. Then he kind of got replaced by Herschel.
Yeah.
And since then, I mean, maybe
Glenn's people have been saying Glenn would be next to go because he's become more of the moral compass.
Yeah, but he's also adapted. He's also part of the badass team. So I don't know. But I don't think is there room for this Batman kind of philosophy in the zombie apocalypse where you just don't kill your
I'm rooting for it. I'm hoping like Morgan can prove that like he's going to keep some of that humanity alive in all these people and somehow make it work. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe there isn't room for it, but I'm rooting for Team Morgan right now.
Well, it can go back to what we were talking about earlier, like perhaps it's a gray area. It's not just Alexander or Wolf. You can be, you know, a person who can survive, and in order to survive, you have to kill people that will come back for you.
Okay, Catie, you're breaking up a lot. You're breaking up a lot during this.
Okay, sorry. What was the last thing you heard me say?
When you, just right at the beginning when you went into that moral gray area thing, like that whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I was just.
So your picture is kind of messy, but your voice is there. So why don't you just start that thought over? You were talking about how there's moral gray area. There is no black and white when it comes to morality.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're not just out either wolves or Alexandria. Maybe like Rick and his people, they're just because they kill when they have to doesn't mean they're not good people. But you do see a couple of people like Rick and maybe Carol who might be verging on the area of perhaps losing their humanity and maybe drifting over towards the wolf side a little bit more.
Yeah.
Whereas people like Morgan are desperately trying to hang on to the Alexandria side more. So it's like politics. You have people right of the middle, left of the middle, and where really where you want to be. Maybe not like politics, but is in the middle. So you don't want to be a vicious animal killer, but you don't want to be completely naive to what's going to happen. Otherwise, you're going to end up like Carter or all the people that got ganked last night by the wolves.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's why adaptation is the key survival skill. And I think this whole idea might be exemplified in this episode in the battle between Morgan and the wolf towards the end of the episode.
Oh my God, by the way, that scared the crap out of me when like the camera panned and you see that wolf guy just waiting.
He's waiting
for him.
around the corner. Yeah. That was
that was so scary. But
good.
Morgan is a badass. Like maybe they, you know, shown little bits and pieces of it up till now, but last night, holy crap. He's like, he's Donatello, except.
He's Donatello, yeah.
Cooler and, you know, not eating as much pizza.
Yeah, and not as nerdy, not so much of a computer nerd, more of just a.
Can you be a computer nerd in the apocalypse?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's going to be some merit, that would be an asset to a team. I think a computer nerd would a lot. Yeah, I mean, the internet doesn't seem as useful anymore, but like, you know,
or useful at all, or
getting into secure buildings or something like that. You know,
that's true. Although I think most security systems would be down at this point.
Yeah, probably. But anyways, Morgan, in this fight with this guy, things get a little hairy, get a little pear-shaped, and it looks like he felt like he had to adapt from his moral rules and take the guy out. Do you think he killed the guy? I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
He killed him?
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind he killed him.
Okay, because it was just a whack across the face with the stick, but the screen,
well, they didn't.
But he said, "I'm sorry" before he did it, and why would he say that unless he was going to kill him? Right?
He killed him, and I liked how Carol and Morgan are walking towards each other. I thought, oh, they're going to be like, hey, you know, maybe we can see. You know, I thought there was going to be some dialogue, but then they just walked right past each other, didn't even look at each other. And I was like, okay, that's even more amazing than what I thought was going to happen. So, you know, I don't know what that means, that they're not ready to admit maybe the other one has a point. Like, because both of them came out okay in that fiasco.
Yeah, that's what's interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough to say one was right and one was wrong when things worked out the way they did, where they're both.
But Morgan's the one who adapted. Carol was just being Carol.
She was just killing people. And that's what was funny, is because last week we were talking about how there being a potential romance between the two.
Right.
And this week
seems less likely now.
yeah. This week, I think Morgan got really pissed off when he's like trying to do his thing, like, let's keep these guys alive, let's tie them up, let's do the moral thing, and she just completely steps over him. Like, I don't care how you do things, and she just takes him out. So, but
in her defense, they've tried that. Like, she's been there when they've done stuff like that, and it has always turned out badly. So she just doesn't even want to deal with it anymore. I mean, Morgan was holed up by himself in a freaking factory or whatever, you know, hiding from things, setting traps and things, not really, you know, and dealing with the same things that Carol and her people were dealing with. So I think that.
Yeah, from what we know about Morgan, it doesn't seem like he's ever spent much time with a large group of people like Carol has.
Yeah, so maybe with less people to protect, it's okay to live by that strategy. But when you are protecting a whole bunch of people,
you don't take
actually
any
care
chances.
About,
yeah.
No, you don't take chances. There was a baby. Oh, can we talk about how tall Carl
is? Carl's tall. I didn't notice.
He grew like a foot. Well, he was talking to Gabriel, who was a full-grown adult. Maybe he's short. I don't know, but he was like taller than him. And I was like, oh, Carl's a man now. Nah, who cares about Carl?
What
really didn't do that much.
That's what happens.
I suppose it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was cool. I think you kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, that the whole battle, the whole crazy violent fiasco took place in the time it took for Carol to bake that casserole.
Yeah. Carl takes it out of the oven.
Yeah, and it's over. The whole thing's done. So
over. Let's sit down and eat.
Yep. Rosita had a really cool line in this episode, I thought.
Okay, what did she say? Because I don't think I heard it. So please tell me what she said.
Man, I couldn't find the exact quote anywhere because I wanted to like quote it perfectly, but I couldn't find it in the short time I had before we started here. But she said something along the lines of, he asked her, "How do you people go on? Like, is this what the world's like out there? And if so, how do you people go on living after something like this?" And she says, "We do it for each other." That's the part I heard.
Okay.
Was like we do it for each other. We have each other. That's how we continue to go on.
But didn't she like basically kind of slam him? Because he said that, I was like, oh man, come on, dude, stop being such a freaking baby. So I was happy. It seemed like she kind of slammed him, but I don't know what it was. I couldn't hear what she said exactly, so I wasn't sure what she said. But that makes sense. Something about Abraham. I thought she said something about Abraham. I don't remember.
Maybe. I really don't remember. She says this group, Abraham in this place, makes you got something to die for, she said.
Oh, okay.
That's what she said. Yeah.
That's a good line.
I like that line. Yeah. Now that we actually know what she actually said, so
we got something to die for. Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, Rosita, I like to see her actually having some time because we haven't seen too much from her, so it's nice to see a little bit.
I feel like the writers in the writers' room wrote a powerful line, and they're like, "Let's give it to Rosita. She needs something good, you know."
Why not?
Yeah. So we talked about, I think the real big part of this episode was the symbolism of Carol wearing the wolf's clothing. She sort of is taking on she's becoming more like the way the wolves are. She's kill first, ask questions later, kill, kill. And Morgan is kind of the other side of that. And I feel like that's the real meat and potatoes of this episode. So
probably this season, because we saw Morgan questioning Rick too when he was so quick to kill Carter and that stuff. So I think maybe even the whole series, the whole show. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of has been.
It has. I mean, this is something we've talked about before. I mean, before we even started the podcast, So.
Yeah, way before we started the podcast.
Yeah, way before. So I think we should talk a little bit about the pictures in the backpack. That what's his name? Is it Aaron? Is that his name?
Aaron. His name is Aaron.
And he finds...
I have no idea. That confused me so much when he found that. First of all, I want to say it was Aaron, although he's an Alexandrian, he seemed to adapt to this, defend ourselves pretty quickly. Like, he wasted no time in, taking care of business when these people came to town. But then he picked up that backpack, and I have no idea, are we supposed to know that this was his backpack with photographs of the wall? Because I did not remember that.
Yeah, that's a good question. Are we supposed to know? Because I feel like the average watcher won't pick up on that. I know I didn't, but I consider myself less than average intelligence when it comes to this stuff. Even though I like to talk about it. I like to talk about it, but I'm not as keen as most viewers. But yeah, I don't think it was easy to pick up on. It makes me feel like it was supposed to be more of an Easter egg kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think they'll probably explain it later. That was just laying groundwork, maybe. My first thought was maybe it was something to do with Enid. She was taking pictures, but then I was like, well, where would she get a camera? And people would notice her taking pictures, and it would be weird. And so I think it's just something they're going to tell us about later.
Yeah, but, so what they're basically trying to say that it was Aaron's fault that the wolves attacked, right?
Wait a second. Wasn't that how he proved to Rick and his people that they had walls when he first found them?
Oh yeah, I do vaguely remember something like that. Maybe that's what it was from. That's why he took the pictures. Was like, here, look, we have walls and stuff. So
yeah, I think maybe that's like his recruiting backpack. Like it's his toolkit. Yeah,
and so the wolves found that and used that to find the place and scout it out and stuff. And so it's kind of Aaron's fault that the attack was as successful as it was, I think.
Maybe, which I hope doesn't make them string him up or anything. That would be sad.
I don't see anything like that happening. I don't think anyone's going to blame anybody. I don't foresee that. being an issue. But I think yeah, it was just more of an Easter egg. Like, this is how it went down, you know?
Yeah.
I wanted to quickly mention Eugene, how funny he is this season.
Yeah.
He's always been funny.
He's always on point.
He continues to, yeah, and now you got the panicky therapist, Denise, in the picture. So
right, which is okay. I understand. What
kind of doctor is she? She's like some kind of.
She's a psychiatrist. And I understand Tara being like, please, you have to try to save her. But at the same time, it's like, okay, you don't try surgery.
Yeah.
You either fail at it or you succeed at it. It's not something you try.
Try, please. It's like, you try. Why don't you do it? I don't know how to do it.
I guess if she fails, the girl was going to die anyway.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's pretty risky, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's Tara's, that's how she rolls, I guess. I don't know.
She's just a good person. She's going to die soon for sure.
Yeah.
She keeps up that good, wholesome attitude. She's going to end up dead.
Yeah, that's true. I hope not. I hope Morgan is the exception to that rule. So, yeah, and then Jessie performs some surgery of her own. She finally gets a kill with the scissors.
I was half convinced Jessie was going to bite it in this episode, and I wasn't all that upset about it because I haven't found anything interesting about her character. I found her boring up to this point. But it was pretty. I gained a little bit of respect for her when she went crazy with the scissors. She did not stop. She was kind of like the wolves too. She just kept going and going and going like the wolves do. And I was like, oh, she could fit right in with the wolves.
Yeah.
But
she was
doing it to protect her family. So.
Yeah, she's got a little bit of wolf in her. So.
She might.
That's cool.
Keep your eye on that one.
Anything else you want to talk about before we start to wrap this up? Take a peek at your notes if you made notes.
I always have notes.
Carol's gonna pick up smoking, I guess.
Did she start smoking?
Did she ever light it? I don't know if she lit it, but she definitely picked up a cigarette. She was thinking about it. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if she lit it though. I can't remember, but
I don't think she.
What was that? What were they trying to say with that scene of her with the cigarette?
I thought maybe they were just trying to say, things seemed so much simpler earlier in the day when I was just calling out this bitch for being a smoker, but she was really just trying to make her feel bad, and now she's dead, and a whole bunch of other people are dead. So I thought it was maybe just like a full circle thing.
Okay, that makes sense. My only thought was like, she's like, F it, let's smoke if you got them. Who cares?
And also maybe something about like, how she said cigarettes will kill you, when she knows full well in this world cigarettes are not going to kill you.
Yeah, something
so
else.
That was the symbolism of the fake Carol. Cigarette.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I don't really have anything else in my notes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered.
Yeah, just gotta say, I guess it was an awesome episode. I really enjoyed it. The action was incredible. It was so fast paced. So much. Kevin Smith was on Talking Dead, and he said it's one of the top 20 best episodes of television he's ever seen in his life. He said.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's legit. But how much stock do you put in what Kevin Smith says? I mean, that's the real question. But no, I agree. It was intense. It was one of the better episodes of Walking Dead I've seen in a really long time. And the cool part about it was usually these episodes that are so action packed, they're
cliffhangers.
They usually feature Daryl or Michonne or Rick, and this was just Carol and Morgan. But for the last few years, I feel like some of the most talked about episodes involve Carol, like the one with Lizzie and Look at the Flowers. I mean, that was a big deal episode. So so Carol, I don't know. Carol might be becoming one of the. I mean, she already kind of was, but you have to put her on the top tier with Rick and Daryl and Michonne. She's up there.
Yeah, she's joined the elite with this episode, I think. I really do think so.
I think so too.
Yeah.
She should be the leader.
So is there any question on who this week's MVP is?
No. No, there's no question.
No votes for Morgan, or?
Well, he was mine last week, so I'm gonna, without question, I pick Carol.
Yeah, I think there's no question that Carol was the MVP of this episode. So
unanimous. That's the first time we've had a unanimous MVP.
Yeah, in anything we do. So that's cool.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think that does it for this episode. We will do this again next week. It is airing next week, right, Catie?
Yep. It does go 8 weeks in a row, and then it takes a break.
Nonstop. There's no breaks.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
no
cool.
breaks.
Good to know. Then I won't have to ask that again next week. So
Okay.
So we're gonna try and do this again next week. Tune in if you want to. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.